Again, welcome to my channel. My name is Ria and I'm gonna guide you through a power flow today. So get ready, it's gonna be amazing. We'll simply begin in mountain pose. So grab a stance on the mat, feet firmly down. You might even spread your toes out a little bit and soften those knees that might be a little bit stiff or you might be tired. Do some shoulder rotation. My shoulders are making noises, they often are. And then when you're ready, find your mountain pose. You might be like a tree in the wind, moving a little bit from side to side if that is great for you, or you might stand still. We want to focus on breathing. Now, my deepest wish is that all these videos that I do will not only be for people who call themselves Christians, but also for people of spirituality, people of different faith. So when I speak about God, I want to also say the word love. So if the word love is better for you, you might say that word instead of God. And if you're not used to praying, maybe you send out intentions or wishes to love, whatever that is for you. Now I want you to count 10 deep breaths and focus on every breath without being nauseous or anything like that, okay? So deep breath and count. If you're not done with your 10 breaths, just continue breathing. So, do you want answers in life? I do. And I want to follow the path of love, the path of God. That is my goal in life, to live for love. But sometimes life can be difficult. And I tend to ask the questions, what do I do? What's the right choice for me? Why am I in this situation? What should I do? How do I handle all of this? Well, what does all these sentences have in common? And you're welcome to move as I talk, standing in mountain pose. What does all these sentences that I just said have in common? The I, the me, myself. So maybe we need to ask, what does God want? If you live for love, your life is not completely your own. But instead of asking, what do I do? Maybe say, God, I love, what is your will in this? What do you do? This situation is not mine, this is yours. What is your will? What is your choice here? When I heard someone say that really recognized something in me, a prayer that I needed to pray more, I think. Take your hands up over your head and then fold forward. Lift up halfway. Fold forward again, not going into plank. Instead, finding chair. And then stand up, take your hands behind you, open up your chest, maybe cock your arms, then reach your arms up overhead, and again fold forward. Lifting up halfway, you might want to bend your knees, you might want to extend the legs. Exhaling, folding forward. Inhaling your chair. And then reach up, exhale, back bend. Inhale, tall spine, engage your core. Exhaling, folding forward. Inhaling, half lift. Exhaling, forward fold. Inhaling, chair. Exhaling, standing tall, lean back, open up your chest. A few more times. Inhale, tall spine. Move forward, exhale. Half lift, inhale. Strengthening the hamstrings. Exhale, fold forward. Chair pose, sitting low if you want that heat. And open up your chest, squeeze your shoulder blades. Reach up. Fold forward. Half lift. Again forward. Bending your knees, inhaling. And open up your chest. Now, if this is enough, stay here in mountain or do just one more time through, warming up the body. Half lift, feeling the hamstrings lifting up, folding forward. Chair pose. Cactus arms and high mountain. Reach your arms up. If you want to follow along now, you can come into your forward fold. Step back into plank pose. Gonna take a few breaths here to again warm up. Tuck the shoulders away from the ears. And maybe as you're staying in plank pose, tuck the chin a little bit in so you're not looking forward always. A little bit in. Get those double cheeks going. On knees or toes, lower down to your chest. And then lift up in the cobra or up dog. And then, of course, downward facing dog. Now take your right leg up towards the sky. Three-legged dog. No hip opener here. But take some kind of kicks back. Toes are pointing down. And lift with small lifts up and back. And then bending the knee, drawing it under your belly, finding a plank, lifting the knee up as high as you can. Soften the elbows so you're not hyperextending them. And lower down or get that right foot to the front end of the mat, high lunge. Reach your arms out, trying to find the balance. Now we can try to wiggle that back foot further back. Now you might, if you're going to take a wider stance, bend the back knee slightly because it's just easier to keep the spine taller. But try to squeeze it back, getting into that uncomfortable low high lunge. Breathing even though you might be shaking a little bit. And finding the floor, lower down the back knee, taking a runner's stretch, folding over that front leg just for a bit of a pause. Again, bending the front knee, taking the back knee off, warrior two. Arms out with a big length. And again, maybe you wiggle that back foot further back. And we're going to stay here for just a bit. Feel that thigh, feel the stretch in the inner thigh. And try to lift through that arch of the foot to both get the adductors here and the medius, the outside of the thigh, involved. Now it can be a little bit boring staying here without doing anything. So let the bottom stay, but the arms can reach up and then draw them out again. Just a few more times. And extend the front leg so we get those triangle legs. Arms over your head, core in. Make sure your hip bones here are aligned with the long end of the mat as much as possible. Then lean forward and take that front hand down, lifting it up again. Core in, leaning back. Back arm down and up. On this one, we do a few more times, really engaging your core. 5 is maximum. You might be hugging in the navel on a 4, 3.5. And then the last time here. You're going to go for a binding in our warrior 2. So I might wiggle the back foot just a tiny bit closer and bending the front leg. I'm going to take it step by step. So you take that front hand just down there, the other arm reach up or bend it behind you. This would be step 1. Step 2, this hand from the floor underneath the knee joint. And then maybe you can reach up and find the hands to make that binding. If that's not possible, you can take a strap in your top arm. You need to bend the front leg quite a bit. Just a few more breaths. Ooh, release. Let go of that back heel, step back, down dog. Vinyasa flow if you want it, so plank. And try to come down to low plank, but with the tricep aligned with the floor, so not go all the way down, okay? Stay here. And then lift up to up dog, and then to down dog. Now this might be a little bit harder on your muscle tissues, but it's also a little bit more gentle, maybe on your shoulder girdle. Let's do that one more time. Move into plank. Lower down, elbows by your rib. Staying here, hovering. Lifting through the tricep into your up dog. And your down dog. Beautiful. Maybe again, sigh out. Luckily, our lives are not our own. I think it would be really poorly if we don't live for love. Would just be all about myself, me, my own happiness. Lift up your left leg, 3-legged dog. Gonna do this sequence on the other side, and you're gonna do those pulses again. Making sure that your fingers are firmly down in the mat, and that standing leg, the right leg, is being kept in that position that it is, as if you were just standing in downward facing dog. Okay, bending left leg, joining underneath your belly. Stay here. Lift your knee as high as you can. Are you feeling warm yet? I hope you do. Land that left foot at the front. High lunge. Ooh, always take a little bit of patience on my side to find the balance. But remember to gaze, focus the gaze. It might not even be on me, maybe beside the screen. Now again, Move that back foot a little bit further back to really get this thigh low. And you might want to bend the back knee. Now, we're going to stay here for just a few breaths. We can do something with our hands. You can take the palms together and let your thumbs move behind your head for a little bit of a stretch in your triceps, actually. One more breath. Stay low. And then find the floor as we did before. You can take your right knee down, stretch the front leg. Maybe you get that kind of sensation of assets in your thigh out. You know that we're going to do warrior two. So get yourself into that one. Arms out, and again, move that back foot further back, bending more in the front leg. Now, if you just move your foot back and you stretch the front leg, doesn't really make a huge difference. So you want to keep the knee over the ankle and then step it back. I feel this. So remember, the harder it is, the more air you want into your lungs, deep breath and maybe faster breath, that's fine. In and out through your nose if possible. One more breath. It's time to extend the legs. And take your arms up overhead. Now you stay there and then lean to the front over into a version of triangle pose. And then take that bottom arm like a windshield coming up. And the same for this one. Going back into a version of humble warrior, as I call it. Just one more time to each side. Elongating the muscles on the back of this leg here, but also in a strengthened position. Warrior two. With a binding or a version of the binding. Hand down. This arm behind you. Now you can stay here. Just make sure you draw the shoulder back so you don't lower down, like laying down, but open up your chest. And then maybe underneath the knee joint, and maybe the hands meet each other. And again, breathe deeply and bend a lot into that front foot, that front knee. You don't want to grab underneath your pelvis, okay? Grab and hold underneath your knee joint. One more breath. Let go, step it back, finding down dog. And then two of those vinyasas with the up dog as we did before. So come into plank. Lower down, shoulders moved in front of your fingers, coming down, tricep aligned with the floor. Stay here for one breath. Lifting up into up dog, hovering your hip over the floor and move back into down dog. You feel your triceps, right? Let's do that just one more time. And make sure you have your elbows as much as possible by your ribs. Now, if that's not possible, fine, take him a little bit out, okay? Better than nothing. Coming down on your knees even. Lowering down. Tuck your shoulders away from your ears, staying here. And lifting up. Down dog. Jumping or walking to the top end of the mat. finding your yoga squat. So you might want to take the toes out and coming down. Lean up against a wall if that's better for your knees. Broaden through your shoulders. And then engage your thighs, your knees, trying to lift up slowly, slowly. Still in your way. If you're up there now, come down again. This one is super hard for me. Awesome. And then you might want to take your feet in a mountain position, so toes pointing forward. Shake your body and just one last bit of flow with balance. What do you want me to do? Our lives are the lives of love, of God. You want to live in the calling of God, in the calling of love. Don't be too absorbed with your own choices, but what is the next step God wants you to do? Now move all of your weight onto your right leg. Warrior 3. Left leg, move it back. Now you can take your warrior 3 like this. A little bit easier, I think, than going down. Finding that floor alignment, horizontal alignment, somewhat. Toes are again pointing down. Gonna stay here for a few breaths. Let your fingers reach down, lift up your left leg even higher up, and do again some pulses that we did before. Now you want to feel it in the outer thigh. Beautiful place to get some exercise going on. And then soften the knee. Bring that left knee underneath, bending the knees. Eagle pose. So left leg wraps around, bend it right once or twice. Now you can take your left elbow beneath and stay here. Squeeze the inner thighs. And bring a smile onto your face. We need that. And unwrap everything. And maybe you want to shake it out. Bouncing movements on the mat. There's not a whole lot of in yoga, but maybe we need a little bit more of that, actually. Catch your breath. I don't want you to be too out of breath when we find that balance pose, because we need to use our breath to work with us. So if you're ready, put your weight onto your left leg and reach right leg back. Warrior 3. And don't be in a hurry to get into the posture. Now push through the back of that right leg. Let the fingers reach further to the front. Gaze on the floor and breath going steady. Ooh. Fingers down, right leg further up. You can open up your hip here, and then those small pulses. Getting familiar with what we call glutes minimus and minimus. And finish those pulsations, bringing the right leg next to the left. Maybe try to keep your balance, bending down your left leg, wrapping right leg around once or twice again. right elbow below if you want to do your eagle arms. And I really want you to hear yourself breathe. These postures are not easy, and the muscles require a lot of oxygen to do all this. And let go. Mountain pose. Again, you might want to bounce, shake it off. Lean forward. We're going to sit down on the mat. So make your way down on the floor for a little bit more of core work. One of my favorite core exercises or ab exercises. You find your boat pose. Again, chest lifted forward. You can hold onto your thighs like I'm doing here. Or let go and then slowly coming down. If you have any back issues, you might just sit in your boat pose and then coming up. So we're not gonna rest completely on the floor. Just gonna move very slowly down to kind of a floaty situation and then up. 2 more times. Don't be too fast. Now the hip flexors are also a lot and work here. So when you're up, coming all the way down, and then a little bit more on your core. Take your feet up and try to keep them over the hip. You might want to cross them. That's what I like to do. And then lift your hip up again. Don't take your knees over your head, over the hip. Lift your hip 1 or 2 centimeters, 1 inch, whatever measurement you have. And then twist from left to right with your hip. Getting that lower bottom of the abs involved. And of course, you can lift as high as you can. And if you want it harder, you can take the feet away a little bit further away from your core. And keep your hip twisting. And lower down. That was the front. Just one more posture for the back. Bridge pose, or a version of it, the shoulder bridge. So you can lift up your hip. And if you want to do full wheel or bridge, you can do that right now. But you can also just tuck your shoulders in, staying here, lifting with your buttocks as high as you can. Now, if you want to go for that full bridge, you take your hands by your ears, fingers pointing down towards the floor, and then lift up. Now, there are some times where this is not possible. So you choose whatever version of these that you want. And if you're ready, slowly come down again from one of those postures, hugging in your knees. We are through. And you can let go, butterfly pose, the sole of the feet together, knees out. Now, core and a little bit involved, so you don't have a huge bend or an arch in your back as you rest here for a bit. So what changes in the way that you perceive things if you are praying that, what am I going to do change that prayer to, God, what do you want to do? What does that change in you? Stay with that thought if you're in the middle of something good, and find happy baby. So knees are off, 90-degree angle in your knees. Draw your knees out to the side. Elbows on the inside of the knee joint. And then maybe you grab either the ankle or the outer edge of the foot. Draw the foot down towards the floor without bending the knees further. And the elbows can push the knees apart. If you don't like this posture, you might just want to huck your knees in instead. And you can extend your right leg as much as possible out to the side just for a bit. Switch sides. And it's okay to bend the other leg you're not focusing on a little bit more. And then let go. Windshield wiper, side to side, getting into that lower back. Now I'll invite you just to stay down on the mat and rest for 1 minute or so. Please take the time. So let your feet drop out to each side, palms on the floor but facing up. Soften your face and allow yourself to relax. It is not by your own power that things are happening. I don't believe that. We need to step into the path of God. And maybe for us that loves power yoga, that is super hard because we are strong and we like to do things by ourselves. We're used to doing it by ourselves maybe. So letting go of that. And go of it as you relax your body. You might notice now that you needed the rest, and maybe you need more rest than what we just had now. Please do that. Allow yourself to rest. But I will slowly finish this video, and if you are good, you might want to move your fingers, your wrists, your body, and take a seat. For a closing prayer. What is your path, God of love? Help us to step into that. Whenever we have things where we are uncertain about, let us pray, what is your will? What is your way? Amen. God's blessings on your path. I'm so happy you joined me today. Share this video with a friend, give it a like, and subscribe if you haven't already. That will help me reach out further with my channel, so thank you for helping me.